Thank you very much, guys. We are going to break it down. The first thing we're going to break down is Diamond's build with Crumbs. Take it away.
All right, well, Skirmisher Saber, not a good idea, especially on Italy. You're a poke champion, you know, Skirmisher Saber, you should probably not even look at that item on pretty much any other champion ever. Really? It's not really a good build, Skirmishers, please.
Let's theorize.
Well, but see, the thing is...
Actually, the only time that I thought it was good would be in the Cloud9 game where the Rek'Sai split pushing against a Zed, a melee champion, the Skirmishers would come in really handy, but unless you plan on taking on the Diana 1v1 for the entire game...
Cougar form is melee, Crumbs.
Yeah.
Don't. Well, you can take the theory part of that one. But,
on a more serious note, though, the Diana won with the same summoner spells, but I feel like Gambit, we said before that WE was playing like a solo Q team in the last game, and Gambit didn't know what to do mid. WE know exactly what to do with their lead in the mid game, and Gambit just fell completely apart and found their skirmishes where they shouldn't.
Well, I mean, if you do have that teleport coming in on the Diana, it just depends on whether the team overextends so you can actually pick up those kills. And I think that's exactly what we saw, but it's I think against a really top-tier team, that's not really going to happen quite so much. And I think it was the really heavy skirmish style of this game that allowed it to be more successful.
Yeah, and something that worked into favor of World Elite is the fact that they had 3 globals. 2 teleports in your solo lanes, as well as Rek'Sai with that Void Rush. So there was a number of teleports that were questionable, but then there was more teleports that were good, simply because of the fact World Elite had more tools at their advantage. If you can fling more weapons at fights and you have more fights, whoever can fling more weapons is going to come out ahead. And that's basically what happened. Gambit got bullied around the map. There was mistakes on both sides of the Rift, which you can't deny. But once World Elite got ahead, they did play aggressively, and that's a 30-minute win. It's relatively quick if you actually look at the big picture of the day. So I think credit to World Elite.
I mean, I think if we were talking about who can fling more, then it really shows how Stone Age perhaps the game was. But I think one of the most disappointing things is the fact that they did put Cabashard on the Morgana top, and you saw that even though he had a good lead in the beginning, you're not able to punish a Luca. And Luca looked really lackluster in the Hecarim, not able to really find many good teleport plays, not really do all that much. Like, to be honest, he was kind of showing up and just saying, like, I'm part of it. Like, yeah, I'm in the winning picture. And an Aurelia pick, to be honest, an Aurelia pick I would have really liked that just forced the split push, and an Aurelia would have been able to deal with Diana very well.
The thing about the top Morgana, too, is when you have all that AP, but you're going up against a very mobile WE composition with a Sivir. So you're not going to land damage, per se, unless you can catch them with the Sivir ult down. And it's such an ineffective pick in teamfights right here. Basically, you're hoping that you can set up a pick with a Dark Binding, or that you have some insane Black Shield, but the ult unlikely to really be that successful. And of course, neither is the W's, the Tormented Soil.
No, I'm a bit disappointed in Gambit, I have to be honest, but good on WE for getting their advantage and pulling it through. Let's take a look at the playoff picture here in Group B, as we have finalized all our matches for today, at least, to see what's coming up.
So, Team Solar Mid 2-0 in the groups. They're obviously going to that semi-final in the higher seed position. And with the fact that Gambit have now lost 2 games in a row, it does mean that they are out. So the 2 remaining teams from this group is CJ Entus and Team World Elite. They will play tomorrow, and the winner will then face off against GE Tigers in a semi-final. It's a very difficult bracket if they want to try and make their way towards the World Championship final.
Yep, and to wrap things up, let's also take a look at the bracket for Group A, the games that were played here earlier today and how everything looks like there.
Yeah, so this side of the coin, GE Tigers 2-0. Team that got knocked out earlier was, of course, Cloud9 going 0-2. So one respective LCS team is out. SK Gaming will have a chance to take on Yowie Flash Wolves tomorrow in another rematch. It was fairly convincing, fairly one-sided earlier today. And of course, the winner of SK Yowie Flash Wolves will play TSM. And that is also a scary semi-final opponent. TSM look very prepared, and they look very on the ball at this tournament.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And I think they just have a more strategic depth coming in than we've seen from Yowie or SK. I think SK is really going to depend on how they can adapt to the bans that GE levied at them in that game. That could be a roadmap for success for other teams. But I mean, if I have to look at it early on in this one, to me, it's looking more and more like a GE TSM final.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's what we talked about earlier today. In terms of who is performing today based on the best of one double elims, it does appear to be TSM and GE, but it is a very unforgiving format. There's no room for error.
Yeah, it's a volatile format to be sure, so having your predictions based off of these best of ones can be a bit difficult. So we'll see how the teams can do tomorrow, and then I'm excited to get into the bracket stage and start seeing some best of series where we see some more in-depth adaptations.
Yeah.
Strategic diversity.
Strategic diversity. One of the buzzwords.
Don't forget the trinkets.
Don't forget the trinkets. We'll see how everything progresses here tomorrow. If you miss any of the games, there are a lot of recaps up over on thescoreesports.com, so you can go and check that out. I want to thank you guys for joining me here on the desk, and for now, we're going to send it over to Chobra, who's standing by with WE support.
As we wrap up